Good evening, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. This is 6 News. Tonight, concerned that Victoria could re-enter lockdown after a spike in cases as the Greater Melbourne area is labelled a coronavirus hotspot. One minister clashing with a reporter about the ADF personnel entering the state.
It's totally about uniforms when you won't tell us how many ADF have been requested.
James,
that line's just a bit cute,
James.
Also tonight, Donald Trump slammed after saying he's reducing COVID-19 testing in America. Now the White House says it was all a joke following the president's first rally in months.
Slow the testing down, please.
250 jobs gone and programs axed as the ABC makes major cuts, and concern about a second wave of panic buying. 6 News starts now. Thanks for joining us. There are fears tonight of a second wave of coronavirus across Australia as parts of Victoria are labelled major coronavirus hotspots. Residents in some local government areas, including Casey, Cardinia and Brimbank, have been ordered to stay at home by the state government. Reporter Darby Travers joins me now live from our Melbourne newsroom. Darby, good evening to you. The state government has now ramped up testing in these areas.
Yeah, that's right, Leo. Hundreds of people have lined up to get tested for COVID-19, but that hasn't seemed to stop the new cases, with 2 schools now having to shut down due to the virus. Residents in those areas have been told to stay at home, and we've also seen other states advise not to go to Victoria. The Queensland government has labelled the Greater Melbourne area a major coronavirus hotspot, and the New South Wales Premier has also advised people not to travel here. In some good news though, Essendon's Connor McKenna, who returned a positive COVID-19 test last week, has now tested negative, leading to more confusion surrounding the AFL season. This comes, Leo, as there are growing calls to move the AFL Grand Final to Perth. I say no, but what are your thoughts?
I say it should stay in Melbourne anyway. We'll leave it there, Darby. Thank you. There was also confusion about how many personnel from the Australian Defence Force would be entering Victoria. 3AW reporter James Talia clashed with the Minister for Transport Infrastructure, Jacinta Allen, during a press conference Friday morning.
This isn't about uniforms, this is about focusing on what needs to be done.
Sure, it's totally about uniforms when you won't tell us how many ADF have been requested.
James,
that line's just a bit cute,
James, as I just indicated, we're very happy to provide you with those exact numbers. As the Minister for Transport Infrastructure, I don't have the precise number of ADF personnel who are working in Victoria right now.
I appreciate talking to the Minister who does know.
James, I appreciate the desire for that information, and that is why and it's important in these times to be precise with our information. And that is why we will give you, and that is why I am indicating to you that you will get that information will be provided. That information is going to be.
Dr. Van David's already been asked this question twice this morning and has not answered.
The Minister also confirmed what many had thought, that no one on the construction site of the brand new metro tunnel have tested positive for COVID-19.
The coronavirus pandemic has led to a huge amount of work being undertaken with the construction companies, with the workforce, with unions, where together we've worked really hard to make sure that we can put in place additional safety measures on each of our work sites. We are fortunate enough to say we've not had on any of our project sites a positive coronavirus case.
Overseas now, and Donald Trump has been slammed after saying he will reduce COVID-19 testing in America. Take a look.
What we've done with the ventilators and with the medical equipment and with testing, testing is a double-edged sword. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
Now, the White House has since come out and released a statement saying the president was joking, but the main story was actually the low crowd numbers, with many parts of the stadium completely empty. Outside, though, there was more drama, protesters clashing with Trump supporters. Now, these protesters' chants of Black Lives Matter were met with calls of Trump 2020 and All Lives Matter. One woman who was sitting on the ground was arrested during the mostly peaceful demonstrations. CFA boss Steve Warrington has resigned only days before a controversial merger between the Country Fire Authority and the MFB was set to go ahead. Minister for Transport Infrastructure Jacinta Allen praised Warrington's work, who has been in public service for 42 years.
Steve worked around the clock, as did so many firefighting personnel, worked around the clock, and his reasons for his resignation are his reasons, and he'd have to speak to those, and I can only say I wish him really well. He's provided terrific service to the Victorian community.
Jacinta Allen speaking there. The ABC has been forced to make more major budget cuts following another funding shortfall from the coalition. At least 250 jobs will go at the national broadcaster. In addition to that, ABC Life will become ABC Local. The iconic 7:45am radio bulletin will be axed, replaced by a 5-minute bulletin at 8am. Programs, including many on the news channel, will be reviewed, and ABC Comedy will be rebranded to include other programming genres. Now, these aren't all the changes, just some of them. I would also like to point out that the ABC has strongly said that there will be no changes to radio programming in regional markets. 42,000 cubic metres of soil and rock have been dug up by 3 large excavating machines known as road headers. They were all deployed to help with the construction of the new metro tunnel, which is set to be completed in 2025. Minister for Transport Infrastructure Jacinta Allen spoke to reporters about the progress it made.
With 3 trinocular tunnels, which will provide a better passenger interchange beneath the ground and beneath the station, the train platforms.
So we still have a lot of excavation work which will run through to the end of 2021, and then the structural work will be ongoing for another 12 months or so beyond that.
Over 6,000 jobs will go as part of Qantas's plan to become a smaller airline as the global aviation industry continues to feel the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. Cabin crew and ground staff are just some of the workers affected. Qantas CEO Alan Joyce saying 2020 was meant to be a year of celebration, but has not turned out as planned. In addition to that, they will continue to stand down at 15,000 staff and also send several of their Boeing 747s into an early retirement. And we're going to take a quick break now, but coming up next on 6 News, we'll recap our top story, plus concern about a second wave of panic buying. More stores reintroduce limits on some products, including toilet paper. We'll have details on that shortly. Also, all 43 Triple M radio stations set to go completely silent on Wednesday as part of their campaign to promote men's mental health. And people flee their homes as aggressive monkeys take over the streets of Thailand. Stay with us.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob, and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Rob, and Robbo. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob, and Robbo Show.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m, right here on Ticker TV.
Welcome back, checking our top story this Sunday, and Victoria is in the midst of what some are calling a second wave of coronavirus. Several areas in Melbourne have been labelled COVID-19 hotspots, with other state governments telling their residents not to travel to Victoria. A testing blitz has now begun in at least 10 suburbs, those suburbs having high amounts of cases. And it seems the rise in cases has seen the return of panic buying. Coles and Woolworths stores in Victoria and New South Wales have both reintroduced limits on some products, including toilet paper and hand sanitizer. It seems it's eerily similar to March, where store shelves were stripped. Across Australia, fights broke out and chaos unfolded, and let's hope we don't get back to that stage. Triple M will have a no talk day as part of their campaign to promote men's mental health. This coming Wednesday, all 43 Triple M stations around the country will go completely silent. No announcers, no music, no news, and no traffic. And every day in Australia, 6 men die by suicide. It's the number one killer of men aged 18 to 44. And remember, if you need help, you can call Lifeline on 13 11 14 or be on Blue on 1300 22 463. 436. Changing pace now, and last month we told you that monkeys were taking over the streets of Thailand, many of them fed up with the lack of food from tourists which couldn't come into the country. But now it seems they're taking their anger out on the locals. There's been reports that they have gone into houses, eaten food in fridges, and even forcing the residents out. It's not quite certain what the plan is to remove all these monkeys, many of them aggressive, and there's also been reports of injuries when these monkeys attack. So if you're in Thailand, look out for them. To the national forecast now, and tonight's weather pick is thanks to Jake via Twitter. This is a great photo of the Birkenhead Beach in Port Adelaide. Remember, you can send us your photos anytime on our social pages by DMing us. To the forecast now, Brisbane 22 and cloudy, Sydney 16, Canberra starting the day at a very chilly top of -1, warming up to 13 later in the day, Melbourne 16, Adelaide 15, Perth more rain 18, Darwin sunny and 32, Townsville 25, Bendigo 13 and Hobart at top of 14. And thanks again to Jake for sending in that picture. Before we go tonight, we just wanted to share with you this quick video of a woman singing in the middle of Hawthorn about toilet paper. Take a look.
Take this one for free. I got plenty to go around. We don't need to hurt another. We need to remember who we are. 'Cause Aussie spirit needs to come through. It's not like you. It's not like you.
And on that very high note, that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date on all our social pages at 6 News AU. If you're watching via Melfood Video, stick around because up next is Inline Plus, followed by Harmony University. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.